What up? This is Ricky from Project Attraction, and today we're going to talk about physical escalation. Physical escalation. What I want to break into the subject and talk about that has to do with physical escalation is the mood setting and energy level of your guys' interaction, and then what's going on around you, and then also break up different levels of physical escalation. So in order to physically escalate, you have to get yourself in the mood first, which is you have to be comfortable with touching another person, and specifically a stranger or a girl that you don't know. When you haven't done this before, or it's been a while, or you haven't gone out for a bit, it's kind of weird to all of a sudden go up to a stranger and like start trying to make out with them. It'll feel weird for you too. So if you start doing it, then you're going to feel weird, and then your emotions are going to transfer onto her, and she's going to feel weird. But let's say if you're in the zone and you've already made out with a few girls that night, then you go walk up to another girl, you're already kind of primed, your physiology's primed, you know how to act in the situation, so you can immediately just go for the makeout immediately. So we're going to kind of break that down. And the first thing I want to go into is getting yourself in the mood. So I kind of split it up into different levels for physical escalation. So the first level of physical escalation is just breaking the touch barrier. Now with this, you should be practicing on everybody. Everyone that you come in contact with, even if it's your wings, your buddies, your friends, guy or girl, you should be able to do this. And this is just touching them on the shoulder, giving them hugs, high fives, little thumb wars. It's anything just very simple that you could do on anyone, but it's to break that touch barrier so that you're not so standoffish and you don't get put, like, let's say, in the friend zone because they can tell you're uncomfortable with touching someone. So that's level one. Level two is you're getting more sensual. So that can be you're getting up in her space a little bit more. That you're touching her in more sensual places. Let's say like the neck, you're around the throat, like grabbing her like that, grabbing the side of the face, grabbing your hair a little bit, pulling it back a bit, maybe grabbing her on the hips. Now these are things like if you do that, you can kind of gauge where she is too and how comfortable she is as well, because you always want to see how you feel in the situation and then how she's feeling as well. So let's say if you go in and you're not sure if you should go in for the kiss or not, you can put your hand on her hip and kind of just pull her in a little bit and see how she feels. If she's cool with that and just lets you do that, then you know, like, okay, she's comfortable. But let's say she kind of pulls away a bit, she kind of pulls her hip away, then you're like, okay, well maybe she's not comfortable with it, maybe she has a boyfriend, maybe there's something here that I don't know about. I'll just wait and ride it out a little bit longer. So level three is more going into making out with the girl. Now I made a video on how to make out, and you can check that out, and it has a lot of good pointers for different things if you're nervous going into making out. It kind of covers similar things I'm going into today, but same thing too, you can try like pulling your hair back a bit, pulling your hair back, getting close to the face. If she's not flinching, just go in for it. And as you get more confident with making out with girls, you can move faster. And like I said, when you're more comfortable in the night and gaining momentum, social momentum, you can start going in quicker and quicker. So there's another level, I would say, I don't say it's either above making out or below, but it's just another level to it, is leading the girl around. So that means grabbing her by the hand and like being like, let's go here, and pulling her to another venue, or like, hey, come meet my friend. And that's more of a leading type physicality, because you could make out with the girl, but then if you're like, let's go here, and she's like, no, I don't want to, you don't have as much compliance for her. So it's very important to start practicing that too, is leading the girl around. And you can do this before or after you make out with her. You can even like get comfortable with like picking her up on the shoulder. That could be more like a level two, like getting sexual, picking the girl up and spinning her around and stuff like that. So you want to get comfortable at all those different levels of escalation. Another thing you can do too, which is always really fun to play with, like at the beginning of the night, or if you're still kind of nervous with escalating physically, is do what if hypotheticals when you're talking to the girl. So you can do like, well, what if a guy just came up to you and just started like trying to make out with you, and you act it out as you are talking to her and getting in as close as you can. So it's kind of making it like it's not you're doing to her, you're just showing her what this guy's doing in a hypothetical. So you can get away with a lot more. So it's kind of a fun thing too to kind of get yourself out of your head if you're kind of like afraid she'll get mad or whatever like that. And then once you start doing that and getting comfortable and you like get close and start touching her and she doesn't react or freak out, which you think she will, or your brain tells you that she will, then you're like, you start relaxing your body and be like, oh, it's okay for me to touch girls, it's okay for me to physically escalate and get physical, basically. Another thing you got to keep in mind too is the speed of escalation. So what I mean by it is if it's at the end of the night and everyone's like the bars are starting to close down and like everyone's on the streets, and you're like, you don't have any girls' numbers, you don't have any girls you're rolling with at the time to try to pull, and you're like, I'm looking to just pull immediately. You want to escalate quicker. You want to be like, hey, what's up? Put your arm around, bring them in, try to go for the makeout, try to pull them, lead them around, and do all those different levels I talked about a lot faster because you're going for the pull, and you can because it's at the end of the night. But what if you're in a quiet setting? Let's say like you're more on a date with a girl, or it's earlier in the night and everyone's just getting started and warmed up into the night. Well, you want to do it slower. You may even wait a bit until you get physical. You may talk a bit, but then throughout your interaction, if it's a longer interaction, you want to interject those escalations into there so that you've shown that side, the physical escalation, and you are getting better with it with your skill set as well. So now with practicing this skill set, I really recommend for practicing to try to, if you're not good at escalating or you don't escalate very much, and this is like a sticking point for you, to really try physically escalating quicker in your interactions. And you can even start with the level 1 stuff. You should be doing the level 1, the high fives, and the shoulders, like I said, with everybody, even with your friends and buddies. That should become second nature to you. But then you can start going for kisses and stuff like that. And I really want you to kind of push the escalation in your interactions for like a few months or so. So that's a skill set you can bust out. Because once you have that as a skill set, you have that there so you know how to quickly escalate. Now, the problem with that too is you don't want to get stuck in where every interaction, a lot of people get addicted to the instant results, like the instant makeout, and because they're really fun and they're really gratifying. But then you may have a girl that likes you, and you're like, oh, I got to make out with her, and you just make out with her immediately, and you fuck up your set because you're moving way too fast, and you're not reading all the right signals and everything like that. So you do want to practice physically escalating quickly so you know how to do it, but then also you want to be sure to be able to practice pulling back. It's kind of like showing intent. I've talked about you want to be able to go in directly, but you can do indirect as well, where you're showing the eye contact and just being more sensual and giving her your full attention. So you want to know how to do both. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to leave your comments and questions down below, and don't forget to subscribe, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just keep up on all the things going on at Project Attraction. Until next time.